family and all others. We are here at a Feeding Our Young podcast, and I was recently informed that the release date is going to be our dear host, Eric Miller's birthday, so we are going to spend this intro singing happy birthday to this very special human. Please sing along. I will know if you're singing along. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Eric. Happy birthday to you. Woo! Back to the episode.
Oh, Hannah. Anybody who has a two-parter, we end up, this is the peek behind the curtains, I guess, but we talk a little bit, briefly between the two episodes, do you need a bathroom break, do all the things, and I'm dealing with some stuff in my personal life right now with, I think I mentioned it in an episode or two ago, my father had died on Easter weekend, and so after this particular recording session, that's what I get to focus on. His service is coming up this weekend. And so I have been looking forward to this day, not only because Hannah is incredible, but also just because I'm like, this is like a little oasis before we get to work about grieving and doing all the things and then, come out the other side of it and go back to work. But in the meantime, this is the oasis. And so I was like, I love the serendipity of it all, blah, blah, blah. And I love, release dates. We have one honored guest. I didn't tell you this, Hannah. We have one honored guest. She's one of our coworkers. You've probably met her, Stella, in Labor. Yeah. So Stella's super excited. You have to keep this quiet because by the time your episode releases, the person who we're talking about will know. But Stella wants this to remain a secret. But I told her, I tell people now that I have a schedule out and all the things. I'm like, oh, your release date is blah, blah, blah. She's like, that is Debbie Joe's, birthday. Debbie on Labor and Delivery. And so who's also been there a long time. You probably know both these wonderful women. And so Stella's like, I'm going to hijack her birthday. This is amazing. So she made her introduction video to herself. We'll talk about that later. All about the fact that she is now, her release date is going to be out. She did this whole Golden Bachelorette thing. It was amazing. So she's super excited. She's like, don't you tell Debbie. I'm like, I won't. I'm going to put that video out there, but she might see it. All that to say, this is a 2-minute discussion on a 30-second topic, which is to say that then I told Hannah, I'm like, oh, it's amazing. Your episode just conveniently, because it's a release day on a Wednesday, will drop early October on my birthday. So then she's like, we have to sing happy birthday. And I'm like, okay. So there you are. There's the intro. All right, Hannah. Enough about me, my saga, my birthday, all the things. Let's turn the spotlight back on you, and we'll open up with the nice soft opening. And I want to know a little bit more, because I think there's a little bit more you wanted to share about your family, your significant other. Where did you guys meet? Just open that door to whatever it is you want to share.
Sure. Thank you. So I guess my whole family is in healthcare, and it's not for lack of my parents trying to inspire other interests in us. They're like, listen, this field is not for everyone. Go look at accounting. You like number, check out some other stuff. But,
yeah.
Kind of like I mentioned in the first episode, just the family dinner conversations we would have about what their careers looked like, and the really human element of that was really special. And I think the more adults we later talked to, turns out that's also kind of uncommon to feel that way about your work. And so I feel like it was really, really special to be raised by two nurses. They are not only a nursing story, but a labor and delivery love story. So my mom was a labor and delivery nurse before she went back for her master's, and my dad was a CRNA putting in epidurals, relieving the pain of laboring women everywhere. And so it was when they were seeing each other working together in that way that they first met, and then went into more than 30 years of happy marriage, and they're still just going along being my role models in every way. But I sometimes I joke with people, I'm like, yeah, I feel like I was born for this role. Like I was raised, since birth with like, what is therapeutic communication? And like like it's just there are definitely some components of nursing culture that are just woven into our family culture that
Yeah.
I don't always they aren't as obvious to me until we bring in an outsider, like my sweet, sweet boyfriend, my partner of 8 years, love of my life, Colin Baker, in the next room over there. He has been such an incredible support, and his mom is a physician. Like he grew up with some healthcare exposure, but uh, after like our first family dinner that he came to, like he definitely had some reactions like, wow, you guys are really willing to talk about poop. Well, then, um, there are just some things like that that you don't notice until someone points them out to you. But I feel so lucky to have so many people around me that are um, so willing to participate in what my life as a nurse looks like, even though uh, Colin doesn't necessarily want the nitty-gritty, gory details of every story I might have to. So willing to sit with me and listen and walk through those challenges with me, especially as so many new challenges come up, being a student again and going through anesthesia school. And then I also just have an amazing relationship with both of my sisters and being able to bounce stories off of them, not sparing any details.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this before, but my baby sister is a NICU nurse. She's in Wisconsin right now, and the middle sister is a physical therapist. So she diversified just a little bit, just enough
Yeah.
that she can kind of offer the family private sessions every time we come home for Christmas. I'm like, I've got this crick in my neck. If you could just, it's fine. Don't worry. But
Oh.
so it's great. I feel so lucky to have them in my life, and we also like will sometimes marvel at my mom's mom, my grandma, who is a nurse, and she's 85 now. She
Hmm.
has only been retired about 3 years. She worked a long time, but she did a lot of like counseling work the later half of her life. But
Yeah.
she was starting as a nurse and going through nursing school when, the white hats were worn very unironically, and you are staying with all of your fellow nursing student mates all in the same bunkhouse, and the nuns are teaching all of your classes, and so it's a hoot to listen to her stories and just
Mhm.
so share that storyline through our family. And I hope to have children someday. I don't know if I will produce a nurse or not, but they're sure gonna hear about it.
They're gonna get the poop stories, Colin. Be ready. Be ready. No, that's incredible, and I relate 100% with you as far as that. Like just listening to your grandma's stories. Oh my gosh, because my wife's grandma, 120. I always tell people 120% Catholic, 120% nurse, and so she was like so proud when she came to. There was one time she came and toured when I worked peds oncology, our unit, and she just was. She was just like a kid in a candy store. And here this woman is just this frail little bent over, you know what I mean? But still just this powerhouse of a woman. And I'll never forget some of her stories because then, of course, we nurses love to share stories, right? Like, that's why this podcast exists, et cetera, et cetera. But she just, I think it was called a takedown. Totally different than what we would picture today. I think that's what it was called, but she would describe like IV systems back in the day where they actually had to cut open the arm and have it, kind of open, and then they would access the vein from there with these metal bores. And, they didn't have the rubber, the plastic, all the things that we have today. And I just listening to her describe all this stuff is to the layman is like horrifying. And to me, I guess, imagining having one of those would be as well. But just it was so fascinating. Like, and you think about how far medicine has come, and how grateful we can be for that, for sure. Um, so that's awesome. So no kids of your own, but you do have a kid of your own. Go ahead and it's on your paper, so I mean, you have to share, right?
My sweet baby boy Bruno, this little doggy is such a character. So I wanted a dog for forever, and we got him about a year ago. He's about a year and a half old. Where we were living in Denver, we were in an apartment kind of in an urban area. There was like no green space around. We were on the sixth floor, no balcony. Like, I know this is not a happy place for a dog to live. So I'll wait. But then when we were moving to Spokane, I wanted to try and find a place that would be doggy conducive. And we have this great little apartment with a balcony close to some walking trails. And so then I was on the prowl. And so I was looking at all of the little posts, and there was a rescue that had they brought a mom and her pups up from a kill shelter in Texas, and they were,
Oh.
offering the pups for adoption. And this one, they posted them in February, and this one little guy wasn't adopted yet. And I was like, I need you to stay on the internet a couple more months, because I knew I'd talked to other people going through my program, and the summer of your second year is the most conducive to regular life. And so, okay, May, if we can make it till May,
Yeah.
maybe get a dog. And, Colin is just my partner, extremely logistically minded. And he's like, you in these 12-hour clinical days, like maybe I should make sure I'm up for having a dog. Like, I love it. Unconditional affection. But so wait, I've been trying to wear him down slowly and showing him all the pictures. And then we went for a walk through farmer's market, and there goes this little doggy that I've been watching online for months, and he's got his little Adopt Me scarf on. His mom brought him out for like a little publicity stunt. And I saw him, I'm like, that's my dog. That is my dog.
That's it right there, done.
My dog.
Oh.
So we went through the adoption process, and he still like has his moments of basically for us he was the perfect pre-children dog. Like the
Yeah.
way me and Colin operate, it's great for us to have a practice round of like, how do we keep something alive together? How do we about like the feeding and the walking and the pooping? We love planning. We love a warm-up round. And this little dog both needs all of those things and is also pretty easy overall. And he is just the sweetest boy ever. He's like part lab, part blue heeler mix, and looks like he could run for miles. And really, he like would much rather just lay on the couch and
Yeah.
watch Animal Planet. That's
I'll get my exposure just like you humans do. Thank you. I'll stare at the screen. Oh, so cute. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for enlightening us on a little bit more about your family. With that, we are now going to catapult from Bruno into nursing again. And there's a few topics you want to talk about, and I'm going to kind of do them in reverse order here, just in the way you presented them, only because I want to land on a very particular one that I feel like would be a great thing to end up on. So let's first talk about what do you want to share as far as getting involved in legislative advocacy? What is that about? Those are big words.
Yeah, I wish that I would have had more exposure to what legislative advocacy in healthcare looked like as a nursing student. My dad was sort of involved in this, and so it was kind of through hearing his stories. I was like, oh, I think that's something I should try to participate in. But it's hard, I think, to have an appreciation for how much your local governments, your county, your city, your state government officials, how much of what they're doing day to day is going to be shaping your life and your practice as a nurse. And I think through our news feeds tend to get more coverage about what's happening at the federal level, which can feel big and high impact, but so much of what goes on there really ends up trickling down to operation at the local level and is at sort of the discretion of our more local people that we've elected and their staff members. And um, if you have the chance, whether you are currently a nursing student or if you are a nurse, if you can get in touch with and build a relationship with your city representatives, your state legislators, those are people that can help you and help advocate for you when obstacles come up and also help maintain the parts of your practice that you love. It is really hard to know all of the conversations that are going on simultaneously while you're at work taking care of patients doing your job. They're doing their job, having so many conversations with so many different stakeholders. And the more involved I've gotten in this, the more I appreciate that you have to be involved even just to maintain the status quo. There are so many voices at the table that if you don't say yours, no matter how self-explanatory you think it sounds,
Yeah.
it's going to be forgotten and it's going to be overlooked because there are other people that are sharing their perspective. But there are so many components of that, and it goes from big things to little things. It's pay, it's staffing, it's hospital spending, it's preceptor grants, it's all of these different little avenues that um, you can be, if you want to be the person that is like part of your state association, going to meetings, having that FaceTime with legislators, they need that, they want that. There's always space to volunteer for that. Please be that person. And if you can't be that person, a phone call makes a world of difference. If they get 50 emails that are form letters, like, okay, that's nice, noted. Some people care about this. But if they get 10 phone calls about an issue, phone calls speak literal volumes more than an email is going to. And so I just would urge you to your state association, whether you're in bedside nursing, if you're in any other nursing role, whatever state association you affiliate with, they probably have someone who's doing legislative work. And if you have anything left in your cup to pour into that, it is time well spent.
Yeah. Wow. I've never had a political bent myself. I've made that clear just from a standpoint of, current policies and current all the things, every administration we have in and all the things. And you look at it from a federal level and, a lot of that is what we can use to divide us, of course. And so therefore I tend to shy away from it. That being said, not having a political bent, you just saying that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to get more involved, because there is a huge difference, I think, and it shouldn't be overlooked, between government at the local level and government at the federal level. Obviously, the federal level is going to impact everything. There's that trickle down effect, all the things, but the local level is where it's at. And that's where you see a lot of the change, right? Like that's where you can be a force for change. And I feel like a lot of that pertains to, what do we always advocate for in relationships, in our profession, with our patients? That is communication, right? In your families, like what's one of the number one reasons why relationships break down? Lack of communication. And so over communication, right? Just making sure that things are clearly stated. I feel like that's really a key component of what you're talking about there. Communicating with the legislators, communicating with those that have the power to make change for better and or to prevent worse. So please, listener, open your eyes to that sooner than I did at my current age. That would be great. On that note of communication, though, there's another topic that I feel like fits right along with that, and it's super important. You want to talk about building bridges with coworkers. What is that about?
Well, and I think this is another thing I sort of had on my list of just having the attitude of being a learner. I know it can be really hard to step onto a new unit and everybody knows each other and has various preconceived notions of one another, and you alone, or maybe you and one other new person, are the fresh meat. And it can be really hard to figure out where you sit in that existing social group. And I think one of the things that was advice I received and has been super helpful to me is assume that you have something to learn from everyone. Because you probably do. And most of the time, it's something you will want to take with you. And sometimes you're learning something you don't want to do, but you're still learning.
Mm-hmm.
That um, shows a humility for you as the new person, and also gives you the opportunity to sort of get a sense of what are people's strong suits. Like, okay, this person is really good with, this particular type of patient. Like, what can I learn from them about how they navigate the situation? And this other person is really good with, complicated family members. What can I learn from them? And I think trying to both have the attitude of I can learn something from everyone, and also looking for the strong suits in everyone will make it infinitely easier to work with everyone. And
Mm-hmm.
I think especially transitioning out of college where you're with friends all the time and a group of friends you've established, and your friends are your peers, those are synonyms. When you get into a workplace, it's important to be able to have professional relationships with lots and lots and lots of different people. And it will make your life so much better if you successfully navigate those relationships. And that doesn't always mean being best friends. You might have some of your dearest friends come out of your professional life, but you are there to be a nurse and serve your patients. And the things that you can do to ease your own way, like, being on cordial terms with the person on the unit that everybody kind of gives a side eye to because they're kind of a lot. Like, if you can still have a functional relationship with that person,
Mm-hmm.
your life will be better. It will be easier. And honestly, everyone's will, because that person will be like, oh, okay, not every day is the worst ever. Eric's working today, and Eric's not so bad. So
Hopefully that day.
it dominoes in a really positive direction.
Yes, yes, very true. And I love something popped into my brain as you're talking about that. It's, everybody knows there's always somebody, right? Where you're like, oh, they're on today. This is going to be, this could be a challenge. This could be whatever. And I love the memes that pop across that are like, hey, if nobody's like talking about the crazy person, or you can't identify who the quote unquote crazy person is in your group, yeah, probably need to look in a mirror. So, what I love, what I love about that is that, quite honestly, I mean, you're gonna find people. I love how you make that distinction between friends slash peers, and then going into a group that's already established a lot. But even then, everybody's from disparate, like different areas of life. They bring their own experience, their own, and that's what makes it a huge positive if allowed to. A lot of times it gets viewed as a huge negative because, Susie won't get along with Marie, and Johnny doesn't like, you know what I mean? And if those two are on, it's going to be rough, and da 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 da. But the truth of the matter is, yeah, like for you personally, there's going to be somebody probably who you're like, oh, we just don't get along. We don't get along. And we're not going to be friends. I'm not going to be hanging out with them outside of work. I know that. But guess what? You are, no matter how positive, how encouraging, how amazing of a human being you might be, you can be that person for somebody else as well. Somebody's going to be like, I just don't get along with you. I don't get along. And that's okay. If you can go in and save a life together, if you can work together to better the life of a patient, who cares? They're not your best friend, and they're not going to be. As long as you can work together and establish that professional relationship where you are achieving the better good of somebody else, then that's all that matters, right? Like, I feel like that's kind of where you're going with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So with that, and you kind of bring up, we're working that way up that list, but having a lifelong bent towards learning, a lifelong learning attitude, you already just touched on that. Obviously, if I say those words, man, what comes to mind, listener? You're going, well, of course she has a lifelong, learning attitude. She's had, like, how many degrees? What's going on? But that's not what that's not the only thing that encompasses, right, Hannah?
Yeah, there's um we all have people in our life who are really good at adapting to change and having something new come their way and have a really, okay, how am I going to take this in stride kind of perspective. And we also all know the people that are stuck in the same mud that they were stuck in 20 years ago, and that's where they will stay, and we'll send them postcards and like.
Well, because the mud is comfortable, right? Like there is a certain comfort level in, hey, I'm stuck in it. It's warm, it's gross, it's squishy, but I'm used to it, so I'm good.
Yeah, and the thing about taking a step into a formalized degree seeking pathway is that you don't really have a choice. You will learn,
Mm-hmm.
you will progress, and uh, if not, no diploma for you. So it's been very formalized for me these last couple of years. But it's, as you transition into a place in your career where you're not a new graduate nurse and you're not the fresh out of college, like the whole world is unfamiliar type of place, when you have some expertise in some really, really strong areas that can be true, and you can also have a lot of knowledge gaps. And I think it can be really hard to consciously remind yourself of that. Just because I have so much to learn doesn't mean I'm dumb, doesn't mean I'm not good at other things. I'm very good at some things. That can be true, and there can also be a lot of just space for continued learning should I choose to enter that space. So I think with, choosing to go back to school and then going through the program, I I will call my parents at the end of some days and be like, I did some learning against my will today. I was quite this much learning, but let me tell you about what happened here. um, like there are going to be times, whether you're in a degree seeking path or just on your unit, like existing in your patient care role or educator role or nurse manager role, like, oh, well, shoot, looks like unfortunately there's some learning we have to do right now. And like the more you can just, you know, you take it like the pill you want your patient to swallow. Like, okay, I know it may not be fun, it may not be pleasant, but you are going to be better for it. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, big sip. It's it's made a really big difference to me in my own learning when I can acknowledge like a time of frustration or discomfort and be like, okay, all right, I'm feeling big feelings right now, and what I can do from this is learn.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to try differently? What am I going to do differently? Knowing that that's not going to be 100% success rate, but thinking of learning as like the thing that is in my control and I do have some power over, so that I can, be better and continue to improve. And when you are successful in learning something, whether it's a new skill or a new technology, and you get to apply it in a meaningful way, that's all the gratification you need. Like that is such a wonderful feeling that it's like, oh, I don't need any special treats to incentivize that. This was good. I can recreate this. I'm willing to learn one more time, and then, hopefully one more time after that.
And here's the thing, you guys. There's almost nothing more insulting to any professional than those that come across as knowing it all. You don't know everything, and here's a revelatory shock for some of you out there. And it's summarized in 4 words. You might be wrong. And I'm going to phrase it a different way. I might be wrong. I mean, not me personally, of course. I've been a nurse for 18 years. So, I don't make mistakes anymore. No, and I love what you're saying, because I just recently, 18 years. I've been a charge nurse on my unit, at least for a few years. They give you a year to get used to the new specialty, and then many years on my previous unit. So charge experience. And yet, just recently, we had a very challenging situation at work that, it's one of those that required a debrief afterwards. They're bad if you get everybody coming together to debrief about things. And a lot of people go straight to like, oh, that must mean a loss of life or something like that. Yes, a lot of times that's when that occurs. This is not what this was about. But the long and the short of it was, I'm a charge nurse. I work days. And I made a decision based on the information I had at hand, which is the best of what we can do. It's constantly preached, et cetera, et cetera. And I felt like I made a good decision. I felt like, okay, this is good. And it might have been if I was staying, if I was the one that was staying on the unit after I left that shift. But I wasn't. I was going home and going to bed and leaving the night shift in very capable hands of lovely, lovely coworkers. And yet there was a different, you know what I mean? That caused different things to happen, different all this, different that. And so then to see how that affected coworkers of mine who I love and adore, that was hard. That's harder than anything, not even necessarily, fortunately nothing horrible happened, but it was a learning experience where, just like you said, Hannah, like it's like, you know what? I'm not going to make that same decision again. Even if all the signs point towards this is the right decision, think about that extra little step. Who's going home? Me. Who's staying here? Oh, these guys. And that's not a knock on anybody, lack of experience, anything. There's a different dynamic. There are different things in play. And guess what? In that moment, I still, as I've already told other people, I wouldn't make a different decision in that moment because I was still operating off of what I knew to operate off of. But moving forward, I sure will. And so be ready to learn and be ready to learn from your mistakes. Always have that learning mindset, that willingness to try new things and to accept the fact that you're not always right. Right?
Yes. And I feel like it applies across so many things, it's decisions that you're making and seeing the repercussions of. And it's also like as new policies come out, there are changes, new technologies come out, and like there's a lot of uncomfy, there's a lot of learning to be had, and giving it the old college try. And you're like, learn what I can, I'm gonna apply it as I can, and then we'll reevaluate. It might take more than one cycle of learning and evaluating, but having the let your brain be plastic. It's very capable. Believe in
yes.
it and see how it goes.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So there's one other major topic that you had that you wanted to talk about before we close in our traditional manner. And I am really excited to hear what you want to share about this. And that is, all this is building on itself to reach to this point. But you want to talk about bridging that gap between nursing school and nursing practice, things that you wish you had known. And I'm sitting here going, I find myself, you're a paradox. That's all I'm going to say. You're a paradox. I'm going to go out on a limb. We don't have to say ages, but I'm going to guess mid to late 20s. Yes?
Yeah.
Mid to late 20s, you guys. And she's using phrases such as that old college try. So I'm just saying, like, you've got this wonderful wise, that old spirit, not an old spirit, but a wise spirit. And yet, you're still very young, very able to, there's no ageism here. It's just a perfect blend of those two things. And so to hear where you want to go with this, what do you wish you knew way back when you transferred from being a nursing student to then being in nursing practice?
Yeah, I shout out here to my baby sister, Maura, because she is one of the most amazing people, and I just know she's an amazing little NICU nurse. And a lot of this, what I have to share, comes out of conversations that her and I have had as we both went into, took our first steps in nursing. And I think one of the biggest things is, it's already come up, right? Communication is such a big, big part of what we do. And I think it's easy to lose sight of that when you are in nursing school and the skills feel so overwhelming, like, oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm so stressed about trying to start this IV. Like, how am I going to put in this NG tube? How do I turn a patient? How do I take this patient to the bathroom? God knows that can be stressful. Um, so it's easy to not lean into uncomfortable conversations, and it's easy to sit them out because a lot of times my experience was that my preceptors would let me sit them out. They're like, "Ooh, yeah, like this might be a little awkward. Like, you know, why don't you stay here? Like, I'm gonna go in and listen while the doc chats with patient and family about this, and then I'll let you know what the plan is." And my advice is be in that room, listen to that conversation, seek
Mm-hmm.
out opportunities to hear that conversation because you will be amazed how much of your job becomes communicating things kindly and accurately and compassionately. And that takes a lot of practice, and there's a lot of good ways to do it, and there's a lot of bad ways to do it. And it's hard. Find the language, I think, on
Mm-hmm.
your own. But if you can hear people who have had these conversations more than once, hear how they do it, and it's the same type of thing. You'll be like, oh, that phrase seemed to really help the family understand where we're at.
Right.
This phrase did not land well, and I will never ever use that myself. It's a really good skill to try and start tiptoeing into both as a nursing student and then when you're being precepted as a new nurse on your
Yeah.
unit. And definitely try and get styles from different people. So that'll help you find what works for you.
Mm. Very good. Very good advice.
And uh, the other big thing, which I'm sure depends a little bit on the person, how much this is the case, but practice being in the room alone. Um, I know different preceptors have different perspectives on this. So maybe this isn't when you're a student, maybe this is when you're orienting to your new unit, but
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a rough time if the first time you are in a patient room by yourself is your first day with your own assignment. Try very hard to, as you get towards the end of your orientation, you have a good relationship with a preceptor, someone you can trust. Say, like, I want to try and do this set of cares on my own. Can you stand outside the door after I'm finished? Can you come in and quality check me? Like, let them be involved, make sure that they're still supervising your work in a way that lets you learn and improve and make sure you're meeting standards of care. But it is really, really humbling if you walk into the room and you're like, oh, wait, oh, there's no one else to hold the door for? Well, shoot, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
the and you haven't practiced being your own double check for all of those little things that you're doing and trying to make sure that your patient is getting everything they need and getting it safely. And I wish I would have done more warm-ups with that while still under someone's wing. And then the flip side of that is when you are, set free out of the nest, know who your safe people are because they are
Yeah.
out there and they are the people that when they say there's no dumb question, they mean it. There's actually no dumb question for them. And um, it is so much better to know who those safe people are, reach out to them with your questions, and um, actually be able to grow and improve. And while you feel supported and not fear judgment because you feel like you're not meeting the expectations of others. And so know those people, cling to those people, and then as you make it more confidently farther away from the nest, then be that person for the next people.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it. And I love that you bring that perspective because, where we work, it's within the last few years, there's been an emphasis on when it comes to preceptorship, for example, the married state model. Married state model is you guys are joined at the hip. You guys are going in together. You guys are, you know what I mean? You're a preceptor, you're a preceptee. You guys are doing everything together and it's fantastic. And I genuinely believe it is needed because the alternative is like from day one, like, okay, good luck, go. You know what I mean? I'm here as a resource and that doesn't work either. I perfectly believe I believe in a blend of the two, where you start with that married state model 100%, and then depending on how the preceptee's doing and how you two are working together and all the things, at what point then do you then kind of loosen those reins a little bit, let them go into the room on their own, let them do this intervention on their own, pass this med, whatever the case may be, as basic or as extensive as it may be. Those things that you can do on your own, by all means, that needs to be taking place, even if it's just near the end of that preceptorship. Man, that is so valuable, because I don't want my preceptees, I don't want my new hires hitting the floor the first day and like, okay, it's my first time all by myself. Like, obviously we have a team and you're always going to be able to bounce stuff off us. But like you said, and this circles back to your first episode where you're talking about, man, all the patients I had were prone and sedated. And then I'm on my own and I get someone who's like, Nurse Hannah, I need to go to the bathroom. And you're like, oh, okay, this is new. Like, what are we, what I mean? You can't account for everything, obviously. But the point is, man, get that practice in there while you have that safety net under you, but maybe not in the same room with you. So, Hannah, is there anything else you wanted to share on that topic?
No, I think you nailed it. It's the see one, do one, teach one, just stretched out,
Yes.
into a stair step, so that you, take a little bit of that fear factor away when you spread your wings.
And I can hear right now, oh, so you mean when I orient, I'm supposed to teach? No. Unless, and I've had this happen, new hires where then students are on the floor. I've had a new hire, new orientee, preceptee, like, oh, I'm going to go in and do this. Do you think the student, I'm like, bring the student in with you, 100%. And then they're teaching while they're precepting. And it's just, it's a glorious thing. Anything you can do to strengthen that base, let's strengthen it. Okay. So with that, Hannah, closing in our traditional manner, you chose 3 words to describe nursing school. What were they and why did you pick them?
Okay, my 3 words were chaotic, empowering, and perspective giving. Chaotic, it just speaks for itself. My goodness, there's just the noises, the sounds, the pace of being in the hospital, especially. Also, other areas of nursing work, but you are bringing in your whole life with you, and so are all of the patients, and those are just constantly colliding.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a splatter painting of human emotion and experience. It's really something quite chaotic. Empowering, because it's amazing. Like, some of the things we do to people and for people, sometimes, depends which one it feels like.
Yep.
Like, oh my God, well, what's happening now? And I'm the one that's supposed to do this? For sure, I'm up for that. But then when you learn how and you are able to successfully execute that and make a real difference for someone, it's like, wow, I can put in this effort and offer this result to someone. What an incredible opportunity for me. And that is really empowering. And perspective giving, kind of in line with chaotic, the people's lived human experience is so broad and diverse, and there's more out there in every respect than you could possibly imagine with your own mind. And every time I meet someone new, some idea is broadened for me one way or another from something that they have lived through or share with me. And it makes me just very, very grateful to be able to share in that with them. And also, I find it very humbling. I'm like, I feel like I can't assume anything is this way or that way or black or white or yes or no for any given issue, because there have been so many people that have introduced me to these living contradictions or impossibilities, and that's them existing. And I'm like, okay, all right, we'll see what's out there.
And that takes place when you have an open mind and an open heart, and you don't close it off to, say, new ideas or learning or other people's experiences. That lifelong learning attitude, again, just in play right there, Hannah. I love it. So with that, I don't know if it was the whole, oh my gosh, Eric has probably made this lady sing happy birthday to him. I don't know. He's such an egotistical turd. I'm skipping this whole episode. I don't care. And they fast forwarded to now. I don't know why they did it, but they have one thing to learn from you. What is the one thing you want them to walk away from listening to your episodes with?
If you feel like you don't know what to do in a big, scary way, just do the next right thing. Frozen 2 got it right. It's the song from Anna. Do the next right thing. Whether that's ask for help or admit you're wrong, just figure out what that next step is and do the next right thing.
Yeah, it isn't over. Like whatever the devastating, whatever the horrible, whatever the whatever, it's not over. It might feel like it's over in the minute, but what helps you get out of that, oh, woe is me, oh, I did this, or whatever, this horrible, horrible event, is doing that next right thing. Taking that first little step back in the right direction, meaning forward, as opposed to sitting in your mud, playing in your mud, and just allowing yourself like, well, nope, I learned from that. That hurt. I can't go forward anymore. This is it. This is as much growth as I'm going to have. And I don't care if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. There's always something to learn and there's always something more to grow from. So don't ever stop. Don't sit in the mud. Don't do it. Oh, Hannah, I can't thank you enough. This has been such a delightful morning. Unbeknownst to you, I'm going to turn this into a 7-part episode so I don't have to face what's coming. Just kidding. No, I thank you so much. I appreciate you being open, being candid, and just, again, sharing that. I feel like I'm sitting with a tenured nurse. I feel like I'm sitting with someone who has a lot of life experience. And I love that. I just love that. So thank you for improving my life and improving the life of everybody who's listened.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. You are such a delight to talk to, and I feel so lucky to have met you.
Oh, thank you. You better stay in touch. And, hey, maybe down the road, we make this offer to everybody. But if this thing grows legs and just keeps going, I don't know how long I'm going to say that. I mean, we're almost at a year. We're not at a year yet of recording. But if this thing grows legs and keeps going, maybe we get to hear from down the road, Hannah, and actual, like, older, wiser, while still being yet... how does that work? Does that like compound each other? You're already kind of have that older, wiser spirit. So then when you get older and wiser, it's going to like... Is that like an exponential curve as opposed to addition?
I think I'm going the other way. I'm 29 right now, and I think I felt my wisest or my oldest at 25, and baby in the world, and I'm only getting younger.
So there it is, everybody. We got Hannah at her peak. Never mind, Hannah. We don't want you back. I don't want to hear the regression, the horrible things that happened to you. I'll be praying for you for the whatever time you have left. That was the most optimistic ending we've ever had. All right. Have a great rest of your day, Hannah. Thank you. Here's what's happening on the next episode of Feeding Our Young.
I had so much trepidation about it. It's like, oh, I haven't done bedside nursing for a long time. I haven't done kids. I don't think I can do this. My very first day of being on my own, I am in report, and the night nurse comes in and she says, oh, this patient. And she goes, oh, Chris, I think you have them. Yeah, they're just really crumping. They're not doing well. And we got them to the PICU before anything bad happened, but it rattled me. And I spent the rest of the day right on the edge of tears.
Yeah.
And I got in the parking garage and I just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And I thought, what have I done? Why am I doing this? Like, this is so crazy. These are kids. Like, this is going to be so hard. And I got home and told my husband that my patient went to the ICU, and he said, what did you do to them? I said, why did you say that? He said, because you're crying. I figured that you did something, that put them there. And I said, no.
Did you like today's episode of Feeding Our Young? Let today's honored guest know by emailing us at thanks@feedingouryoung.org. Also, if you are a nursing student, nurse, or a nursing instructor and would like to be featured on a future episode, please email us a few details about yourself at the very special email address mystory@feedingouryoung.org. If you have a question you would like addressed in a future Q&A episode, please send it to q@feedingouryoung.org. For all other inquiries, please email us at info@feedingouryoung.org or text us at area code 509-ALL-THEM, 509-255-8436. We're so excited to have you return to hear our next honored guest. Be sure to follow us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Feeding Our Young LLC. Again, that's username Feeding Our Young LLC. Until next time, be encouraged and go find someone to encourage today.